2 days later, I was on the set of the sitcom Empty Nest. Because YouTube, that wasn't anything when I was doing it. There's 25-minute chunk of fart humor. The storytelling.
Yeah.
It's just not as fun. It's about selling toys. First Star Wars movie, what I loved about it is it wasn't necessarily for me.
It's a big goofball. Big complexity.
I mean, stand-up, is my life. That's the thing that I've always wanted to do and that I've been doing the longest. And everything else, it's just kind of been lucky accidents, falling into acting, literally falling into acting. Well, not literally, but I mean, I moved to LA to be a writer when I grew up here. And I was living in San Francisco, and some comedy clubs were closing in like 1993, and it was becoming scary for some of my stand-up friends and myself, and we realized we had to go, somewhere else if we wanted to make a living.
Yes.
And so I moved to LA to write, and that was always the intention. And I started getting writing jobs down there, and made the move. And then next thing I knew, a casting agent came and saw me at the Improv in LA. Melrose Improv, this years ago, must have been 94. And my first audition, she asked me to come to an audition the next day.
Wow.
And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think like, oh, I hope I get it, or, I didn't go through any of that stuff that those actors go through. And I just went and I did it and I got it. And then 2 days later, I was on the set of the sitcom Empty Nest at the time. It was a popular sitcom. And I just booked it and did it. And that, never like stressed out about it. And then next thing I knew, I was doing more of those. And because I kind of had a look.
What is a fartist?
This is me being silly. I mean, with stand-up, some people take it so seriously. And some people feel like they have to make... a comment on society and stuff like that. And some of my friends even, that's just what they do, and that's not what I do at all. And you can tell that by the names of my albums and my specials. The one before The Fartist was Fart and Wiener Jokes. And it's always more than that, and I don't just tell fart jokes. But to me, I'm kind of, taking a hack at myself by calling it that. And then... we thought of the art, that movie The Artist had come out and had won an Oscar 2 years ago now.
Yep.
So my manager is one of my best friends, and he has the same, juvenile sense of humor as me. And I was like, what if we call the special The Fartist, and we just mimic that art, and it's me, looking into my own eyes, and I've got like a pencil mustache and the whole thing, and, did it like that look of The Artist, and we both laughed. And that's the thing. If we both laugh at an idea, we're doing it. There's definitely people. I'll look out when I'm doing, because some nights now it's less because I'm working on new material.
Yes.
But when I was doing the exact act from my last album, The Fartist, there's 25-minute chunk of fart humor, and if you don't like fart jokes at all, and you're sitting right there, you're gonna be like. Oh my God, dude, get off of it.
Mind you.
I won't. I'm
Yeah.
aggressively juvenile.
Yes,
And then I'm also aggressively myself. And if, I don't care if there's one person with their arms crossed.
With humor, now with all the social media, the Twitters, the Vines, 6 seconds, as a comedian, as someone who's thinking about this, do you find that the attention span is different? Has the humor changed and the timing is different, or is it still the same?
It's the same. I think there's just more outlets for it. There's way more outlets. And then for a young comedian, which I'm not, there's way more places for them to be seen than when I was a kid, when I was coming up. I mean, it's really good for the young people, to now have... Because YouTube, that wasn't anything when I was doing it, and it's a cool tool. It's a really new, cool little thing to get your act up there. But the downside of it is these kids, because I'll have people send me Facebook messages saying, "Hey, I'm doing stand-up for my first time. Look at this piece of tape of me." There's no way I'm going to look at that.
Yes.
I don't want to see somebody on their first time. I want to see somebody that's been doing it 5 years and really knows what they're doing. If you wanted to get a job on Conan O'Brien or something like that, you had to write out all this stuff and show them. You know, you probably still, once you actually get to the job, you have to show them a packet, you know.
Yes.
But back then, that's all you had. Now, I could come up with some sketch idea and shoot it on YouTube and get a couple 100,000 hits if it's funny,
Yes.
and people pass it around.
You also have an interest in comic books, and you've done some stuff with Deadpool. It's interesting, superheroes have taken a big upswing. So, you know, Iron Man
Yeah.
and all of the series there, and then also Man of Steel. And what do you think of the fascination, again, with the superheroes? And what's your favorite superhero that's out there right now?
I mean, I think the fascination's always been there. It's just more. I mean, I wish there would have been as many superhero movies as a kid when I was a kid as there is now. I don't know why there's more now. I just like it. You know, and I'm happy that the culture, pop culture, seems to be so kind of nerd centric now, because it's not just superheroes. It's you know, sci-fi and all this other stuff is
It's
more
true.
popular. I mean, look how big Star Trek is now again, and all these things that nerds love. And you know, you watch the news and the news comments on Star Wars and what's going on with Star Wars and J.J. Abrams and,
Yes.
you know, and the Disney stuff. And that's like not stuff that people used to talk about 20 years ago. Like, if you were a nerd, you had to dig for that stuff. And
Yes.
now that stuff is right in the forefront, you know, and it's cool.
Yeah, everybody, it's cool to
If
be
you're
a
into
geek
that
now.
culture. Yeah.
It's not like before where if you were a geek, you were like, you know, beaten up on the side or
Right.
school or whatever. Now it's like, wow, you play with technology, you're a geek, that's cool.
Yeah, being one of those guys that was beaten up, it's like when you see those girls that wear like I Heart Nerds t-shirts or whatever, it's like, well, where the hell were you in 1985? You know?
You
Like,
were born too early, Brian.
Right.
That's what happened.
right. I'll start messing around with the way of saying it and then adding other parts to it, like which they call callbacks and tags. There's all these like jargon for it, but like when you have a big punchline and then you keep like hitting other beats after that, that's called tagging.
I see. So it's like after the big laugh, then you
Yeah.
kind of still sort of the echoes almost
Yes,
of that.
yeah. You're still
Interesting.
messing around with that main idea and then getting more jokes off that main idea. Those are tags. And as a writer, I love like kind of milking something. And I love when I can exhaust a premise. You know, when I can take an idea and just take it as far as I can take it and
Yes.
know that, I killed that, you know?
Yes. And I wonder, even after a show, whether people think back to a joke you told and maybe, you know, laugh at something else, you know, like an absurd thing that they're riffing off of after
Yeah.
the
Well,
show.
I'll hear people repeat, like sometimes I'll word something, you know, where it's not the punchline, but it's just like a funny wording, and then I'll hear people like say that in the audience.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to hear. Like they're just now taking it in, like maybe 5 seconds or 30 seconds after I said
They're like,
it.
oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Going forward, what do you want to be known as? I mean, you're dabbling in all these different areas.
Just funny guy.
Just funny guy. That's like, you
Just
want to be
like-
known not as a fartist, not as, at the end of
No.
the day, the funny guy.
Just that, you know, oh, that's the guy. Yeah, he did those things, and then he does this, and he also writes, and he's, you know, my fans know, you know, and I want everybody, you know.
Do you have fans that follow you in each of the different things that you do? So they'll comment, they'll see you on television, they'll see you in sitcom, they'll read the comic books.
Yeah, follow my podcast, and just, it's crazy. But yeah, there definitely are those people that, like, those are the true comedy connoisseurs that, you know. It's not about it just being this fun thing anymore, and it's about selling toys. And like the first Star Wars movie, what I loved about it is it wasn't necessarily for me. I was 9 years old when it came out, but it's not like he made a movie for 9-year-olds. He just made a movie.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I loved it, and guys that were in their 20s and 30s loved it. And I mean, obviously, millions of people loved it because we're talking about it.
Yes.
But this one now, like when the whole Jar Jar thing started, my biggest problem was not that it wasn't funny, because it wasn't. But that's not what I was mad about. And not because he sounded racist and all the other reasons that everybody went after Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I just thought it was too calculating. And to me, it just felt like they're making a kids movie, and that's great, but what about all the other people? You know, like at least when you're at Pixar, and I don't think Pixar does that. I think Pixar doesn't just make kids movies. I think Pixar is the place to look, because Pixar, to me, has the best track record of any company out there. Like, they just make great movies.
Yeah.
If you look at those 3 prequels, Phantom Menace and the other 2, which I can't even think of their name, Attack of the Clones and whatever, try explaining that story to anybody. Try explaining what happened in the first scene and what happened in the last scene, and you know how that all went together. Like, can you?
I actually haven't seen those ones. I've seen the old ones, but I haven't seen the new ones yet.
I was waiting. You know, I had been waiting since my childhood for that movie to come out and be good.
Yes.
And it came out.
And the rest we all know from many of Brian's rants. So
no, I mean, I'm still talking about it. You know, I'm on my 3rd comedy album and I'm still talking about Star Wars. I mean, I talk about it every night.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think it connects with people too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's people that are still mad too.
Yes.
It's not just me.
Okay, so the start 3s. What's your favorite food that you just love to eat? Like if all other food got decimated in the entire world, what's the thing that you want to save and take on an island with you and eat for the rest of your life?
Sushi.
Oh, okay. Is there any type of fish or any style that you like, or?
I love it all. Albacore.
Okay.
Probably my favorite. That's the first thing I'll order.
Okay. Any restaurant recommendations?
Back where I live, Katsuya, but people know it now. It's kind of been
You knew
bought
it
out,
before.
but yeah.
What's your favorite adult beverage? And I found out you were from Sonoma, so that's a great wine region, but you might like the beers, or what's your favorite adult beverage?
More of a whiskey guy. I like it kind of mellow. I like, it's so weird, but like the alcohol nerds or liquor nerds, they'll call it like a breakfast scotch, and it's like, all right, but I'm not drinking scotch at 10 in the morning. But it turns out I do like a breakfast scotch, but I won't drink it for breakfast. I'm so not that guy.
Which is why I love asking these questions for that. So not that guy. But you're a nerd.
Yeah, I know, but I'm old, so like it's so hard for me to stay on top of anything. My Xbox still. Like when I get a chance, you know, I love to just veg out and play a game.
Which
get
game?
Totally immersed. Doesn't matter. I'll play first-person shooters a lot. Or Call of Duty games I love, and the latest Tomb Raider was amazing. I played that and finished it, which, as a grown man who's also like a dad, and it's kind of, I don't get the time to finish games anymore.
Thank you, Brian, for your time. Appreciate it. This is my first interview, by the way.